Hello, I'm Michael Dennin, and this is the Physics of X, where X is everything except politics. And we're in the middle of discussing the Dresden Files, a series about a wizard in Chicago in modern days who does a lot of amazing stuff that helps us think about physics and faith. This is a science episode. We recently discussed the idea of hitting things in the air and what's involved there. Harry uses a lot of cool physics, and in one book in particular, in Small Favor, he's being attacked by a particularly large and massive bad guy. And he uses physics, slippery surfaces, the fact that the creature can't turn easily in his battle with the creature and to take him out. This is a great chance for us to talk about mass, because Harry uses the creature's mass in ways that make his battle effective. So how might we use mass? How might we think about getting things to fall? How does this all come in? Well, mass, in a physics point of view, it actually has three definitions at least. It's the amount of stuff that's there. The more interesting one comes from Newton's second law, F equals ma. It tells you how hard it is to change the speed and velocity of something. So how hard is it to change speed or direction? In other words, what does it take to cause an acceleration? So forces are proportional to the mass. The bigger the mass for the same force, the smaller the acceleration. That's really important here in this battle. The other thing it turns out is that mass actually is what controls gravity. It sets the magnitude of the force of gravity. And it's really interesting that there's no fundamental initial reason why mass needed to be all three of these things: the amount of stuff, your resistance to forces, and the force of gravity. So understanding what mass really is one of these great fundamental science questions. I said a lot of talking about science and pop culture raises the question, is something fundamental? Is it technological? Mass is this really exciting fundamental thing. And many people have heard about the Higgs boson, often called the God particle for some reason, having nothing to do with God or faith. So let's just leave that there. It was an interesting naming. But in our current understanding, our current standard model of particles, particles get their mass through interaction with another fundamental particle called the Higgs boson, which is also treated as a field. We can look at things as particles or fields. This is technical stuff you don't necessarily need to worry about. But the cool thing is a mass emerges as a property of interacting with stuff. So just starting with, oh, how did he knock over this big beast? Suddenly we're already at, oh, what is mass really? But let's go back briefly to his battle with the big beast. It's an important feature, right? I mentioned the larger your mass for the same force, right, it's harder to generate an acceleration. Well, that's what turning is. Turning is an acceleration. So Harry talks about being able to turn more effectively than the creature chasing him. There's also the problem that mass comes into when you're trying to support the mass against gravity, because mass is what interacts with gravity. And this particular creature is only running on two legs. Harry takes out one of them, and now the creature's all unbalanced. There's a lot more mass, and there's a force of gravity interacts very differently, and Harry gets the creature to fall. So there's some very simple self-defense techniques that come in from understanding mass, but understanding mass from a fundamental physics perspective, very interesting, very challenging, all about the Higgs boson as far as we can tell right now. So there's a little more physics from Harry Dresden the Wizard. Thank you for listening and watching The Physics of X. This has been The Physics of X, where X is everything but politics. Make sure you like, subscribe, and ring that bell so you get notifications of every episode coming weekly straight to you.